Hi guys, in this video I explain how to simplify conditions and I go over some tips and tricks. Now many times when we have the not operator in front of an expression, we can simplify that expression by bringing that not operator inside the parentheses. To better understand this, let's take a look at the following table. This table has two columns. The first column, this expression with the not operator in front of it, and the second column has the simplified expression where the not operator has been brought inside the parentheses. Now each row has a different operator. At the very first row we have the larger than operator, and applying the not operator to it will change the larger than operator to the less than or equal to operator. If we have the larger than or equal to operator, it would change to the less than operator. If we have the equal operator and we apply the not operator to it, it would change to the not equal to operator. And if we have the not equal to operator and we apply the not operator to it, it will change to the equality operator. Now with the less than or equal to, it would change to larger than. If we have less than, it would change to larger or equal to. And also the logical operators will change. So here if we have the logical AND operator and we apply the not operator to it, it would change to a logical OR operator. The OR operator would change to an AND operator, and if we have an expression with the not operator in front of it and we apply another not operator to it, it would cancel each other out and we would just have the expression left. Now let's go over some examples. Let's say we have an expression that says number is larger than 5. And now we want to simplify this expression. So applying the not operator to the expression would change the comparison operator to less than or equal to 5. Now without memorizing all these changes on how the logical not operator affects a comparison operator, let's fully understand this by taking a look at the range of values. So we have very small negative values. If we go up on the range, we hit eventually 100. If we go further up, we hit 0. If we go further up, we hit positive 100, and all the numbers beyond. Now here we have an expression that checks if number is larger than 5. So 5 is somewhere here on this range of values, and this says anything that's larger than 5. Now the not operator says we do not want anything within this range. So in fact, we want something 5 or less than 5. And now taking a look at the simplified condition, this is exactly what this condition expresses. We want 5, so equal to 5, so 5 is included, or anything less than 5. Now let's do another example. Let's say we have a number that is larger or equal, or let's actually do it a little bit different. Let's say we have 15, and 15 must be larger than or equal to value, and we have the not operator in front of it. How can we simplify this? This would change to 15 is less than value. Again, taking a look at our range of values. Initially we had 15 must be larger or equal to the value. So this is this range of values, right? In other words, value must be less than or equal to 15. And we do not want anything within this range. So what we want is something above 15. And this is what we have here with this expression. It has to be above 15. 15 is not included. Now one more example with the comparison operator. Let's say we want value to be equal to 0, and this is exactly not what we want. We do not want value to be 0. This would be simplified to value not equal 0. So this might be actually pretty straightforward, but what this expression means is we have 0 and we do not want 0. So we want anything larger than, anything less than, so it should not be 0. And that's exactly what this expression here tells us. Value should not be 0. Now, all the remaining ones up until the logical operators are the same. Now let's take a look at one of the logical operators. Let's say we have the logical AND operator. And let's say here we have an expression where value should be larger or equal to 0 and value should be less than or equal to 100. And there is a NOT operator in front of that expression. Now what would this be when we simplify it? So first of all, when we have the logical operator, we have an expression A and B. And we have to apply the NOT operator to A, to the logical operator here, and to B. So let's do this one a little bit slower. So we apply it first to A. A is value larger than 0. Then we apply it to the OR AND operator, and AND operator changes to OR. And now we apply it to B, and B is essentially value less than or equal to 100. And this is our expression. Now we can further simplify this. So bringing the NOT operator in and looking at this, this essentially is our rule up here, where larger than or equal to changes to less than after we apply the NOT operator. So this will be less than, and then we can remove the NOT operator here. And B will be the rule up here. So A less than or equal to B with the NOT operator in front of it. And if we apply the NOT operator, we get A larger than B. So value larger than 100. And then we simplified this condition. Now, looking at our range of values, we have here value is larger or equal to 0. So larger or equal to 0. This is everything up until here. But then it also has to be less than or equal to 100. So that means anything from 0 up until 100, both 0 and 100 are included. And now we do not want anything within that range. So what we really want is anything before that range, so less than 0, or anything after the range, so above 100. Looking at our simplified condition here, this is exactly what this condition expresses. We want anything less than 0 or anything above 100. Now let's do one last example and let's combine the last two rows here. So we have the logical OR operator and a double NOT operator. So let's say we have value larger than 20 or value is not, let's say 25. And this one has a NOT operator in front of it. Like this. Now we simplify it. So again, we have to apply the NOT operator to the first expression, so the first condition here, which is A, and to the second one, which is B. So applying the NOT operator to a larger than, we can see it changes to less than or equal to. So this will be value less than or equal to 20. Now the logical OR operator will change to a logical AND operator. And then we would have the two NOT operators here. Now, when we see two NOT operators like this, we can simply remove these two, since they would have no effect. And this is what would be our final simplified condition. So it would be less than 20 and value 25. Now, looking at this condition now, we can see this condition could never be fulfilled, because a value cannot be less than or equal to 20, but at the same time 25. 25 is larger than 20. So if we have 20 on our scale and we say we want anything, anything less than or 20 or equal to 20, but at the same time it has to be 25, which is somewhere up here, this would not be possible. So simplifying conditions will really help us to fully understand the condition and sometimes find potential errors, like in this case. Now let's move on and let's take a look at some tips and tricks. Let's say, for example, when you have Boolean variables, and here I have a Boolean variable is happy, and assume there's some code in here that computes this value, or maybe we read it from the input from the console, and then we have a condition, and the condition checks is happy true. Then we want to do something. Happy. What's the problem here? Now, what we're really doing is we're taking the false value of happy, and then we take, which would be true in this case, and then we compare true to true. This is really unnecessary. We don't need to check if true is true. We know true is true, we know false is false, we know that 5 is 5, and we know that 0 is 0. So when we have a value, we don't need to compare the value to itself. So this one here is a no. We should not do this. Instead, when we have Boolean variables, what we want to do is happy, and we take the Boolean value as the value for the condition. So if this is true, the condition is true. And we can enter it and execute it. This is the way to write it. Now on the flip side, let's say we want to check if happy is false. Here, sad. So the same rule applies here. This one, if this one is false, we essentially compare if false is really equal false. We know false is false. This is unnecessary, so don't do this. Instead, use the not operator in front of it. And this reads more natural. If it's not happy, then we enter it. Now I move on to another example. Many times, let's say we have a value here, this is 15. Again, this could be computed, this could be read from the console. Somehow we have an integer number and we want to check something. And we know, or in this case, the number could be larger or equal to 0, and the number is less than or equal to 100. Now, if it's within the range, we really don't want to do anything, so do nothing. But if it's outside the range, then we want to do some processing. So I just call this here processing. And this could be a larger block of code. It might not just be a simple output statement. But the point here is that when the condition is true in the then block, we have it empty, there's nothing, so you might as well write it like this. And in the else block, there we have a bunch of code where we do some processing. What can we do in this case? Now, whenever you end up with a case like this, what you do is you add the not operator in front of that condition here. And applying the not operator switches or swaps these two blocks. The then block becomes the else block, and the else block becomes the then block. And now when you have a then block and the else block doesn't do anything, you might as well get rid of the else block. So you can remove it, and this looks much cleaner. Now that we just learned on how to simplify conditions up here, we can bring that not operator inside this expression. So not less than or equal to will change to larger than. The logical and operator will change to the logical or operator, and less than or equal to will change to larger than. And then we can remove the not operator, and we have a simple condition. Now this reads much cleaner than in the very first case that I had. There's just a single condition. We can see the number has to be less than 0, or the number has to be above 100. And if that is the case, we do some processing. Now I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.